Welcome to Animated Bible Stories, where the Bible comes alive through powerful stories and timeless truths. Learn the Word, live the story.
He was not the strongest warrior in Israel, but no man alive could catch him when he ran. Asahel was one of 3 sons born to Zeruiah. His oldest brother Joab was already known throughout Israel as a feared commander, a man who led armies into a bloodshed battle. His other brother Abishai was known as a dangerous warrior in his own right, a man who fought without fear. Asahel grew up watching both of his brothers rise in reputation among David's men, hearing their names spoken with respect around the camp, and he wanted a name of his own among them. But Asahel's gift was different from his brothers. Nobody called him the strongest man in the army. Nobody called him the biggest. What set him apart from every other soldier was one simple fact: nobody could outrun him. The Bible describes him as being as fast on his feet as a wild gazelle out in the open field. From the time he was young, running was the one thing he could do better than anyone else around him. And he carried that speed with him as he grew older, all the way into David's army, where he took his place beside Joab and Abishai in the ranks. For years, Asahel served under his brother Joab, learning the ways of war. He waited for a moment that would let him prove himself the way his brothers already had. King Saul had died in battle against the Philistines. With Saul gone, Israel found itself without a king everyone agreed on. The tribe of Judah in the south moved quickly, anointing David as their king. But the rest of Israel's tribes in the north did not follow David right away. Instead, Abner, the commander who had served faithfully under Saul for years, took one of Saul's surviving sons, a man named Ishbosheth, and set him up as king over the northern tribes. So now, Israel had 2 kings standing against each other: David ruling in the south from Hebron, and Ishbosheth ruling in the north. Everyone in both camps understood that this division could not hold for long. Sooner or later, the 2 sides would have to meet, and when they did, it would not stay peaceful. Joab, serving as commander of David's forces, gathered his men and led them out from Hebron toward a place near the pool of Gibeon. Abner, commanding the forces loyal to Ishbosheth, marched his own men to that same place. The 2 armies arrived from opposite directions and took up their positions on either side of the pool, close enough to see each other, clearly across the water, close enough to hear voices carried on the wind. Abner was the one who called out first. "Let the young men get up and fight in front of us!" he shouted across to Joab. Joab called back, "Let them get up." 12 young men stepped forward from Benjamin's side, from Ishbosheth's army, and 12 stepped forward from among David's servants to meet them. Each man from one side grabbed his opponent from the other side by the head and drove his sword into his opponent's ribs. All 24 of them collapsed together and died where they stood. That patch of ground came to be known afterward as the Field of Sharp Edges, remembered for what took place there that day. What had started as a small contest between chosen men did not stay contained for long. The fighting spread outward from where the 24 had fallen, spilling into the ranks on both sides until the entire 2 armies were locked together in open battle. Swords clashing, shields cracking, men falling in every direction across the field. The fighting grew fiercer as the hours passed, neither side willing to be the first to break. By the time the day wore on toward its end, Abner and the men of Israel had been driven back and defeated before the servants of David. Abner's lines broke apart, and his soldiers began to scatter and run from the battlefield, with Joab's men pushing forward behind them in pursuit. This is where Asahel's moment finally came. In the middle of the chaos, as Abner's army broke and ran, Asahel caught sight of Abner himself fleeing across the field. He was not looking at some ordinary soldier trying to escape with the rest of the retreating army. He was looking at the commander of the entire northern army, the very man who had set Ishbosheth on the throne and split the nation in two. Asahel understood immediately what it would mean to bring a man like that down with his own hands. So Asahel turned his eyes on Abner and began to run. The Bible says plainly that he did not turn to the right or to the left as he went. He gave up on everything else happening around him on that battlefield and followed Abner, and Abner alone, with everything his legs could give him. Others gave chase, and here and there men fell where the fighting had caught up with them. In the middle of all that noise and confusion, Asahel's eyes never left the one man ahead of him, and his feet, faster than any other man's in either army, closed the distance between them with every stride he took. But Abner knew something that Asahel, in the heat of the chase, did not yet understand. Speed alone does not decide a fight. Abner was older than Asahel and far more experienced in close combat, a man who had led armies and survived battles long before Asahel had picked up his first sword. As Asahel gained ground behind him, Abner glanced back over his shoulder to see exactly who was closing in on him. "Is that you, Asahel?" Abner called out, still running. "It is," Asahel answered, not slowing his pace at all. Abner tried to warn him away from what was coming. "Turn aside to the left or to the right," he said. "Take hold of one of the young men instead." In plain words, he was telling Asahel to stop chasing a commander he had no business fighting, and instead find some soldier closer to his experience. Asahel would not turn aside. Abner spoke again, and this time his words carried more weight. "Stop chasing me," he said. "Why should I have to strike you down? How could I ever look your brother Joab in the face again if I did?" These words revealed something important about Abner in that moment. He did not want to kill Asahel. He respected Joab, and he understood clearly that killing Joab's own brother would create a blood feud that would follow him for the rest of his life. No matter how, the larger war between the two kingdoms eventually ended. Even so, Asahel refused to stop. He kept coming, faster than Abner could outrun on open ground, until there was no more room left between them for words to settle it. As Asahel finally drew alongside him, Abner made his choice. He thrust the butt end of his spear backward without turning fully around, striking Asahel in the stomach. The spear drove all the way through his body and came out of the other side. Asahel fell to the ground, exactly where he was struck, and he died there, on the spot, the chase ending in an instant. Word of what had happened spread quickly through the rest of the retreating soldiers. They stood there instead, looking down at his body. This alone, men from David's own army pausing mid-chase at the sight of him, showed just how deeply respected Asahel had been among the ranks. Joab and Abishai did not stop, though. They kept running after Abner and the remainder of his fleeing army as the sun began sinking behind them. They followed him all the way to the hill of Ammah, near a place called Giah, on the road toward the wilderness of Gibeon. There, the men of Benjamin, who remained loyal to Abner, gathered themselves together and took a stand at the top of the hill, refusing to run any farther. From where he stood, Abner called down to Joab. "Must the sword go on devouring forever?" he shouted. Joab called back up to him. "Don't you know this will only end in bitterness? How long before you tell your soldiers to stop chasing after their own brothers?" With that, Joab raised his trumpet and blew it, and every one of his men stopped where they stood, ending the pursuit of Abner's army for that day. No further fighting broke out between them that night. Abner and what remained of his men marched on through the darkness, crossing the Jordan River and continuing until they reached Mahanaim by morning. Joab, for his part, turned back from the chase and gathered his own men together to count the cost of the day's fighting. When the count was finished, 19 of David's soldiers were missing, in addition to Asahel. Abner's side had lost far more, 360 men of Benjamin who had followed him and died in the retreat. Joab and his men lifted Asahel's body and carried it the long road to Bethlehem, where they laid him to rest in the tomb that belonged to his father. Then Joab gathered his men once more, and they marched through the remainder of the night, arriving back in Hebron. The war between the house of Saul and the house of David dragged on for a long time. After that, growing weaker on Abner's side and stronger on David's side, eventually Abner decided he had had enough of serving a weakening king. He sent word to David that he was ready to bring all of Israel's northern tribes over to him, ending the long division between the two kingdoms once and for all. Abner traveled to Hebron to meet with David face to face, and the two of them came to an agreement together. David held a feast for him, received him in peace, and sent him away in peace, believing that the long conflict between their two houses was finally coming to a close. But Joab had not forgotten what had happened to his brother. When Joab returned to Hebron from a raid and learned that Abner had come to the city and left again peacefully, he went straight to David and confronted him. "What have you done?" Joab demanded. "Abner came to you, and you let him go in peace? Now he's gone, free to do as he pleases." Without telling David, Joab sent his own messengers after Abner, and they caught up with him and brought him back to Hebron. When Abner arrived, Joab pulled him aside at the city gate, speaking to him as though he only wanted a private word. There, in that quiet moment, Joab struck him in the stomach with his sword, and Abner fell dead. Joab had killed him to settle the blood of his brother Asahel, who had fallen so many seasons before by Abner's spear on the battlefield near Gibeon.